Okay, I am going to take a quick second to show you how to feed and care for your starter. This is something that you will be doing quite often, so pay attention. This starter, this is PETA. As you can tell, there are lots of little bubbles in here still. You can see that there are streaks. Let's see, there you go. That there are streaks down here on the glass. This is from, my starter had bubbled up and now it has fallen back down. I used it just a little bit ago and used up some of my starter, but I do need to feed what's left. So let's show you how we do this. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take this, I don't know if you can see inside, there's a little bit of this brownish liquid, just a teensy bit, and it's a little bit, you know, just liquidy and a little bit of the darker yeast on top. So we're just going to kind of scrape that off. I'm going to do that in the sink really quick. We're just going to scrape that off. It's not harmful, it's not bad for you, it won't hurt you. So you can see it looks a little different now. Sorry, I don't have very good lighting in my kitchen at night. It looks a little bit different now. But that liquid, it won't hurt you, it's not harmful for you at all, it won't make you sick, it's just, if you stir that back in, it can sometimes make your starter a little bit more sour. So I like to pour it off and scrape it off. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to measure out 1 cup. I like to keep about 2 cups of starter. One I use for growing and, you know, making more starter, and the rest I use for baking. So I have got a little bit left. I'm going to set this aside in another container. Sorry, you can't quite see it. To use in a recipe in the morning. So I'm just going to set that aside. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pour this back in. Make sure I got this in the camera. We're going to just dump this right back in. And I mean, you don't have to be super accurate, you know, not get every little thing. You see there's stuff still on there, but that's all right. So we're going to take that. There's the starter that's back in the jar. You can use the same jar. There is nothing harmful that's growing in this container. It's pretty impossible. If you've got something scary looking, like fuzzy, or it like waves at you when you open the jar, that means your starter's dead and you need to throw it out. Dangerous bacteria can't live in this environment, so you don't need to change your jar every time. So I'm going to take 1 cup of water, because I have 1 cup of starter, and pour that right in. This starter is it's called a 100% hydration starter, which means that it has equal weight starter and water and flour. So we are going to just mix that in. We're just dissolving the yeast right into the water. It makes it a lot easier to mix in the flour when the yeast is already dissolved and liquid. So that is about ready. Still a little bit thick, but you can just kind of see it's just a liquid. You do, when you stir it, you know, you do want to kind of incorporate as much air as you can, because the yeasts that live in this are they are living things. They need air. So this little cup that I use, I don't know, I love it. It's a little it's an egg dyeing cup actually, but I like it because it doesn't have a handle and it fits nicely in my my flour container. So here we go. We are just going to, so this is about, this will hold about 1 cup. It's a little bit shy of 1 cup, so I might add a little bit more. I'm just going to dump this right into my jar. Build a little bit. Happens all the time in my kitchen. Let's see, we're just going to stir that up. Oh, flip the camera a little bit. So we're just going to twist that right in there. And it is still pretty liquid. This flour is just barely ground. And sometimes when flour is freshly ground, it's kind of fluffy because there's a lot of air in there from the grinding. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. The consistency that we're going for is a lumpy pancake batter, like a thick pancake batter or a runny oatmeal kind of a consistency. So that's getting pretty close. I'm going to add just a titch more. Like I said, my flour was really fluffed up from the grinder, so I just barely moved it into my container. So I did have to add just a teensy bit more. Alright, so this is a pretty good consistency here. You can see it's kind of that lumpy, goopy consistency. And, you know, we could, you know, possibly even add just a teensy bit more. I kind of freehand mine a little bit. But what you will do typically is a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio. 1 cup of starter, 1 cup of water, and a heaping cup of flour. That's where the little extra can come in. So that is how you feed your starter. That's all we're going to do. We'll put the lid on pita and put that in the fridge, and then the next time I'll feed it is either when I bake with it, or if I get busy and I don't bake all week, I will look at it again in about 3 days. In about 3 days, it'll be ready to feed again. So I always keep my starter in the door of my fridge so that I can see it, watch the bubbles, watch it rise up, and then I can see if it needs to be fed, if it's starting to fall down, if it's starting to get any liquid on top. Then it's time to feed it. You know, we try to, you know, be predictable every, you know, 3 days or so. But sometimes if your starter's being really active, you know, it might be ready in 2 days. You know, it's good to keep it someplace where you can keep an eye on it. So that is how you feed your starter. Pretty simple. Again, it's a 1-to-1 to a heaping 1 ratio. 1 cup of starter, 1 cup of water, 1 heaping cup of flour, and you get a thick pancake batter, runny oatmeal consistency, and that is feeding your starter.